Good morning, wherever you are watching us from. And this Good Friday, welcome aboard to Kirk in the Morning, where we have a very good program lined up for you right from the start up until the end of this program. It's a Feel Good Friday, and as we always do, we have so much packed up for you to make sure that wherever you are watching us from, you get entertained and also informed by what is happening in the country. We take a review of what has been happening all through the week, because so much has been at the loggerheads in the country in regards to politics and the way of life. Parties going to their primaries, that is the nomination, so much coming out of it, and also the fuel crisis getting into the third week now, as the government continues to insist there is no crisis, but the people continue to suffer. Long queues witnessed on all petrol stations. We'll also be taking a look at what has so far changed up until this week, and as we always do, we'll also be having our health discussion later on in the program, talking about entrepreneurship. We'll have because we have so much lined up for you, so you need to stay wherever you are this Feel Good Friday. And happy Easter holidays, and welcome to Kirk TV in the Morning. And as we always do, we start on the roads. All right, and as we always do now, jumping on to the roads, just to take a glimpse of what is happening in the roads in the next 1 minute, just to get you informed on where you need to avoid and pass. I just want to begin with Ngong Road, which because it's a holiday, I think Ngong Road now looks so much good right from the start to the end. So anyway, if you're using Ngong Road, it's all clear, because I think today is Good Friday and it's a national holiday, so you don't expect so much traffic. And the Central Business District, as usual, is just some little snarl-ups, and as it looks, it's so clear right from Moi Avenue, Haile Selassie Avenue, Nairobi Central Business District, all through. It's so clear because it is an holiday and people are out of town. And just taking a look at yet another road that is usually so much busy, it's the Thika Road. Thika Road looks so much clean as well. You can also use Thika Road. There is no traffic at any point. The usual culprit of Muthaiga joining Kiambu Road, there is no traffic at that point, so you can be able to use Thika Road all the way right from the start. Just descending down to yet another road that is usually a busy one, Mombasa Road. Mombasa Road looks so much good all through, so you need to just follow your normal way of getting to where you are, because as I can get to see on the maps, that is all about the roads. They are all clear as of now. Parklands Roads doesn't look so much snarled up. It's so clear. That is the effect of today being a national holiday. So there is not so much traffic on our roads. Only the Central Business District that is busy a little bit with the movement of vehicles. So if you can be able to, avoid the CBD, the better. But all roads linking to the Central Business District are clear as per the map here that I have. That Thika Road, Mombasa Road, Ngong Road, Parklands Road, all clear getting into the Central Business District. And we also be checking later on to see what is happening on the roads, because we always want to inform you on where you need to avoid and where you can be able to follow, so that you get to where you are going safely. And that is all on the roads. Now we take a glimpse of what the dailies have written this morning before we get into our discussion this particular morning, because there is so much that has been happening. All right, and now as we jump straight to the dailies, what they have written, just take a glimpse of the Daily Nation. On the top page of the Daily Nation, talks about a day of drama as the United Democratic Alliance Party, that is the UDA, holds party primaries, and the confusion of delays, claims of voter bribery and rigging characterized Deputy President William Ruto's UDA party nominations in Rift Valley and Mount Kenya regions yesterday. forcing officials to postpone or cancel the exercise in some area. That is the story by the Daily Nation, talking about what transpired yesterday in regards to the UDA nomination. So the story is written in depth on page 12 and 13. On the bottom of the Daily Nation, Uhuru and Raila unveil Azimio's power lineup. That is the story there, where the Azimio presidential candidate Raila Odinga and his allies, including incumbent President Uhuru Kenyatta and Wiper Chief Kalonzo Musyoka, are members of the top-making organ of their newly registered coalition party. And that story is by the Daily Nation on page 6. As well, on top of the Daily Nation, the story there is 10 oil executives summoned as fuel prices hit record high. That is what transpired yesterday. The EPRA increasing the prices of fuel to the petrol to 144. Again, the pain in the palm for Kenyans, even as fuel prices continue to hit the country for a third week consecutively, while the government insists that we have enough fuel in the country. We'll also be taking a look at that discussion in the course of the program. Apart from that, there is so much written there in regards to Good Friday and the Easter holiday. So many Kenyans traveling, but the fuel crisis becoming an hindrance. Switching to the Standard newspaper. The Standard newspaper on the top page talks about now the in-depth of Azimio's power lineup. The faces there of significant leaders. President Uhuru Kenyatta is the coalition council chairman of Azimio la Umoja, while Raila Odinga is the party leader and also a council member. Wiper party leader Kalonzo Musyoka, Gideon Moi, Mombasa Governor Hassan Joho, Sabina Chege, Naomi Shaban, and also some other big significant names there appearing on the top of the Standard in regards to the Azimio la Umoja's power lineup. And just to take a look at yet another story there on page 3 of the Standard newspaper, it talks about Pope Francis visits prison for Holy Week foot washing ritual. That is the normality when it comes to the Easter holidays. The Business Daily has the in-depth of the story in regards to 10 oil CEOs face jail and fines in fuel crisis probe. A statement there by Energy Cabinet Secretary Monica Juma, where she talked about the fuel crisis in the country, confirming that Ruby's Energy Group Managing Director Jean Christian Bergeron was deported on Wednesday amid claims of influence in the ongoing crisis of the fuel in the country. Kenyans continuing to suffer for the third week consecutively, and then Ruby's it's back at the state over their CEO deportation. It's just a back and pull, and in regards to who is to blame for the fuel shortage. And again, the Business Daily reporting there, Kenya Airways gets another 36.6 billion shillings state bailout from their consistent losses all through the years. And the Star newspaper is talking about tears, chaos and delays rock UDA party primaries. The top page there showing the scenes witnessed yesterday, where there was so much commotions, fight and pull in different polling station of the UDA party. And the Bomet woman rep Joyce Korir was the highlight of the day, shedding tears as she confronted alleged tormentors, that is the people she alleged to having interfered with the UDA nominations in that county, and significant names as well being put out of those nominations and laid down in a structure that now seems to be hunting those that have been against the UDA party, and as well those who have been shouting loud are also the victims of the UDA nominations. We'll also be taking a look at that. I just want to take a look at the People Daily, what they are reporting. The People Daily talks about why polls are double-edged sword for Ruto, and Deputy President decision to take personal charge of the exercise means he will take credit for its successful, but equally blamed for the any mishaps denting his presidential bid. That is the people daily talking about Deputy President William Ruto responding to what transpired yesterday on the UDA nomination, and that is what also built the basis of our discussion this morning, because it's quite a significant exercise in regards to preparation for the general election expected to begin in August. And that is at that point I want to introduce my panel here in studio. On my near right is Oleso Odhiambo, who is a political strategist, and on the far right is Bikwa Shoya, who is an advocate of the High Court of Kenya. Welcome, gentlemen, to the program this morning. And because we all understand, and the temperatures this morning are those of party primaries and nominations, the ODM talking about their nomination and also the aspect of consensus coming in. You know, we have to agree to get a candidate for this position. But the highlight, I just want us to begin with the highlight of the primaries. That is the UDA primaries that were done right yesterday in Mount Kenya region and Rift Valley region, the vote-rich regions in the country. I just want to begin with you, Bikwa Shoya. Just what do you take of the UDA primaries just that have been conducted yesterday?
I think they did quite well. They did quite well in the circumstances that they find themselves in. UDA is a relatively young party, though it's being led by seasoned politicians. So it is my opinion that they did quite well. We never had as many chaos as many people had anticipated. We had isolated instances of chaos here and there, which chaos were contained pretty well. And the Deputy President came out yesterday in the evening to just give members of the UDA party that assurance that in areas where there were a bit of uncertainties and chaos, that the same would be, those areas probably the nominations would be repeated, and and so on and so forth. So in the circumstances that UDA find themselves in, it is my opinion that they did quite well. Okay. Yes.
What did you take that did quite well, being a young party? Oleso, what do you take of that primary?
To our viewers, families and friends, let me take this chance to wish you happy Easter holidays as we get into the weekend. As we look into politics and the nomination puzzle, my opinion is that I think from yesterday's exercise, and specifically relying on UDA, I must commend the party, because as we all know, nomination exercise in this country is a very expensive exercise. And also for the parties, I don't think if our parties have the ability to really carry out this nomination exercise independently. It is my view that in future we should have IBC step in to assist parties in conducting this nomination, because when you look, nominations are basically like a mean general election. And when you look at the resources available to the party, the security aspect, and the other factors also considered, it becomes a major headache. So for UDA, a young party, as Wakili Biko puts it, to have been largely able to conduct a nomination that I will term, I think, credible, it is something we need to give them credit. I will take this chance to give the DP credit for that nomination exercise. Save for the few areas where we witnessed chaos, but that is expected in a nomination process. Not everyone will be satisfied. There will be those who will lose and then congratulate the winners. We also have those who will say, well, we lost but unfairly, so they will complain, but at the end of the day, they are going to concede defeat. And there are those who will say, well, we think the process wasn't fair, and they will take a different route. So we appreciate the whole scenario.
Actually, I just want to remain with that particular point where, say, it was something that went on smoothly, as probably it would not have gone. But before that, there was so much diplomacy that we are going to have a very peaceful, we are going to have a very transparent exercise. But as we see the scenes yesterday, even top politicians right in the UDA party came out, to cry and say, tunakuachia Mungu, and then all manner of statements regarding to consoling themselves. What went wrong, or rather, didn't they see this one coming?
That was expected. That was expected. Because like we've said, and Wakili Biko has also said the same, I don't think if we can expect a nomination exercise that is devoid of these other things like lamentation, it wasn't fair, and etc. So those are things that we expect in a nomination process. And that is not only limited to the UDA party. It happens to other parties, ODM, Jubilee. And I think for the same reason, that is why Jubilee is trying to avoid that nomination route, because maybe in one way or the other, it's also it is a double sword for the party. It could go either way. So maybe Jubilee has decided to take a safer route. But for the parties that are conducting the nomination, even in ODM, we saw what was happening in Oma Bay yesterday. So these are things we expect in these parties. Yeah.
So why are we seeing this chaos, and tears and the back and forth?
Let me tell you one thing. The aspirants who had expressed interest to vie for various positions in UDA were around 5,000. The positions that are available are only 800. Meaning that out of the 5,000 slots, 4,200, almost 4,200 and something aspirants are not going to make it to represent UDA in the various positions that they had expressed their interest in. And so you would ordinarily expect that tensions were high, interests were equally quite high, and of course there've been uncertainties, and we've even had people who we expected would very easily do quite well in the nominations, who have been flawed by candidates who are not even seasoned politicians, who are first timers. Take for instance the seat of women representative Bomet. Yes, we have a young lady who is a rookie in politics, who was flawed, someone who was otherwise considered to be a very to be a very seasoned politician. The same thing happened in Kericho with Charles Keter. And so expectations were high, interests were quite high, but then that is the nature of democracy. You would expect that because one having been in the political scene for quite some time, then they would very easily sail through. But then that is democracy. Yes.
And also, Chris, if you consider that fact, remember UDA decided to do the whole exercise within a single day, unlike ODM that spread the exercise for a stretch of I think 2 weeks. So if you look at the number of constituencies where the process went on smoothly, and then maybe save for the few areas where the party decided to postpone the exercise, largely the exercise was a success for them. Though yesterday we saw, for the better part of the day, we saw allegations of already pre-marked ballot papers. There were issues of favored candidates, and all those other things were existing. But from my opinion is that when you look at somebody like Charles Keter is a seasoned politician. He is a close ally of the deputy president, and he has been in politics for some time, for quite a long time. And one of the interviews Charles Keter was doing with a certain TV station recently, he said he is going into the game to win. He is a seasoned politician, and at some point he was quoted saying that he has never lost an election, so this is not going to be an exception. But what happened yesterday? he was beaten by somebody who we didn't really expect. So that tells you that to some extent, I think from where I sit, the party let democracy to thrive. That irrespective of how close you are to the deputy president, let the people decide. And that's why we can see that even the people we thought were friends of the deputy president were going down. I'm reliably told that Mandago could also be heading out in the Senate race. We have seen Bomet women rep Joyce Korir also out. And that is something that tells you that at least they tried. On that, I give them credit again.
And on that point is where there's some the DP, you know, after all the chaos and all that, there is something the DP said. I think we have that clip we can play and see what the deputy president said later on after the nomination tears and chaos witnessed yesterday.
And I want to say I am a very proud member of UDA, because today we have demonstrated that it is possible for a political party young as UDA to deliver credible, believable, democratic, free and fair.
Oleso, I can see you smiling.
But
you said you need to credit UDA for that.
It's true. We give them credit. But then, does it also concern them that the voter turn-up, especially in Mount Kenya, was quite low? Not even quite low. I think it was, for the record time, Mount Kenya has never witnessed such a low voter turn-up for quite a long time. And in an area where they expect to be one of their strongholds, and you see a voter turn-up of such a percentage, it should worry the deputy president. It is not just about the process being peaceful, transparent. Remember, politics is a game of numbers. And if a region that you consider is one of your strongholds, people don't show much interest in the affairs of that party, then I think that is something that needs to send you back to the drawing board. I'll give you an example of a constituency like Nyeri Town. In 2017, during the Jubilee nomination exercise, I think the current MP, Mheshimiwa Wambugu, was able to garner 17,000 votes during the nomination exercise. The candidate who came in second managed slightly above 11,000 votes. During yesterday's exercise, in the same constituency, UDA was the first candidate, the winner of the UDA party primaries, managed only 3,000 votes. The second closed in with 2,000 votes, down from 17,000 from the 2017 Jubilee party primaries. So if I was the deputy president, as much as the process was maybe we could term credible, I will as well be worried in terms, because the bigger picture is that we are doing all these things for the purposes of the general election. And if that is a turn-up in our stronghold, then there is a lot of work that needs to be done from the UDA side in the mountain region. Yes. Biko,
what do you take of DP's assurance that we had something that was free, fair, and there were, apart from the small hiccups, we did everything better?
It is true. It is true that on a scale of 1 to 10, then we would give them a very comfortable 7 or 8 on a scale of 1 to 10, which just like you said is very commendable. But then, just like as my colleague also said, the real politics will now start after the nominations. Because then I know the party is going to sit down and just have a post-mortem of the nominations. They are also going to sit down and just ask themselves then if these are then the candidates that we have for ourselves as a party. We now have they will now have even a bigger tussle moving forward, because now they are going to meet their, bigger opponents. And like, when they were fighting amongst themselves in their house, that is the UDA. So it will be a good reflection point for UDA moving forward. Oleswa has raised a very important point of politics being a game of numbers. They would really want to ask themselves, why was there, a generally, voter low voter turnout, and probably ask themselves questions like, is it because it was on a working day and people could not get the opportunity to come and vote? Is it generally because there was voter apathy, and why so? So they are going to have a postmortem amongst themselves as a party to chart the best way forward, even as they plan to face a more formidable team like the Azimio team. Yes.
Talking about forming formidable teams, it's so clear that all parties that have had primaries up until now, it's not a smooth exercise as it would be expected, and every party has had all that time to be able to prepare for its primaries. Do we spot some loopholes in our party preparations, Mr. Oleson?
I think there are loopholes in party primary preparations, and the major challenge, which especially that has come out clearly in this 2022 election preparation, is failure by these political parties to include members, aspirants in their preparation process. Because, and this cuts across all the political parties, be it Jubilee, be it ODM or DAP. You realize that even on the election day, we have aspirants complaining that they don't know people who are going to be presiding officers. They are not aware of the list that is going to be used for nomination. I will take a case like yesterday in UDA. I think the Political Parties Act provides that parties need to conduct elections using their party member registers. And yesterday, what we witnessed that there were areas where UDA decided to use the 2017 IBC register for voting, when we expected them to only allow members of the UDA party, because what then is the essence of party membership? Remember, in a political party, the biggest asset in a political party is party membership. And therefore, if you do not give them a fair chance to participate, then you allow everybody to come and participate in the process. Mm-hmm. You may end up with weaker candidates. Two, the candidates that had been assured that we are going to have this exercise for let's say, UDA party members, and then at the end of the day, it is open to the entire public, that anybody who is in the IBC register can be as well allowed to vote. Then, of course, we expect people to cry for like, and now with that, I had based my campaign based on our party members, but then you have extended this to everybody else. So even people from other political parties can come and participate in our process.
Okay.
Yes.
And you want to add something on that?
Yes. Political party primaries has been a very defining moment for political parties over time in this country. And I think if there is a party that has learned it the hard way, it is the ODM party. And that is why you are seeing that this time round they're doing things a bit differently from these other political parties that then do not appear like they were really prepared for the party primaries. If you look at ODM, what has been failing them, or what has been ailing them over the years, has been the party primaries, where people have been, there have been numerous complaints immediately after the party primaries. There are complaints of bias and all that. And then there is decamping, people decamp from ODM, others go for independent, and ultimately for some reason they end up winning the general election over the favored candidate of ODM as at the time of the primaries. And so the party primaries is always a very defining moment. Would UDA have done better? Yes, they would have done better. let's take for instance the strategy that ODM has adopted. They have said they are going to conduct their party primaries within a period of time, like let's say 1 week, like they've done, or 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
And then within these 2 weeks, they have also deployed technology, so that then there are no instances of stuffing of ballot papers or the issue of pre-marked ballot papers, like my colleague has said. So they're coming up with innovative ways of ensuring that at the end of the day, the credibility of the exercise that is the party primaries is guaranteed. So I think with time, party primaries have to be innovative about, and also he has raised a very important issue of, at the party primaries, who is allowed to vote, yes, for these particular candidates. If you look at ODM right now, they're insisting that it is only ODM party members that are allowed to participate in that process. Okay. But then it would appear like Jubilee probably, not Jubilee, but UDA have not really gotten those lessons quite well. Because at the end of the day, if I am a member of ODM and I know that you are a formidable member of UDA and that I'm going to face you in the general election, what am I going to do during the nominations? I'm going to ensure that I sponsor the weaker candidate so that he beats you in the nomination, so that I can then meet the weaker candidate during the general election. And that is what is, those are the matrix that, or the matrices that normally happen during the nominations, so that you ultimately end up just having a smooth sail during the general elections.
Because I want to believe that the party primaries are the ones that are, linked to the general election.
Yeah, true.
And unpreparedness for the parties also could transition to the IEBC. So do we see the unpreparedness of the parties transitioning to the IEBC?
But then that is something that has happened all along. I think the only party that I can comfortably say that in a way it was prepared for this exercise quite well is ODM. Because their adoption of use of technology, it is something we at first doubted. Personally, from where I was how was that going to work? Because we have complained that IBC has tried this and it has failed. But then we saw that they were able to carry out some quite credible party primaries. And I'll take an example of a place like Busia, where they had the gubernatorial nomination. And I think that was one of the areas that was hotly contested. And we saw that both the candidates who are contesting for the seat came out say like, okay, I think from the exercise, how we participated, how the voting process was, the party was so strict that only party members are going to vote. I think, first of all, even at that point, that shows there was a lot of preparedness of ODM. Party membership list was availed in time. Those who came and were not members of the ODM party were not allowed to vote. So which means only people who have interest in the affairs of the party, people who want to see the party become stronger, were allowed to participate in that exercise. Mm-hmm. And therefore, when these people give their verdict, surely anybody will say, quite it was a fair exercise, and therefore I accept. But like Wakili puts it, how will an opponent take it when you allow everybody to vote? For instance, if I'm running to be an MP for Langata, on an ODM ticket, and you want to run on a UDA ticket, but then you allow people to use the IBC register, I can as well tell my supporters of ODM that on that day, because they're allowing everybody to vote, go and vote, because let's say Chris is a strong, formidable force that I think will give me a headache at the general election. I will ask, go and vote for Wakili, who I presume to be a weaker candidate. Mm-hmm. So at the end of the day, I'm going to get Wakili as my opponent, and the stronger candidate, who is Chris, will be home. Mm-hmm. So I will have a very smooth ride to the general election. Mm-hmm. So this problem is going to transition to the general election for the parties which are not prepared. And unfortunately, because our opponents, UDA, were not really prepared for the exercise, I'll have wished a scenario where we have a very strong and formidable team. Mm-hmm. But From the look of things, we are going to meet a team that we will have a field day.
Are you representing? Are you holding ODM's brief?
No, I don't hold.
I was even to ask him.
That is from where I sit as a member of ODM. I have told you here that members of the party are the biggest asset. So when we speak, we speak the ideas of what we think of the party.
Of the party.
Yes.
But again, I also want to understand,
Yes.
like, on the party primaries, there is the party register and the IBC register. There was a claim that was raised by the Thika Town Member of Parliament, that is Wainaina Wajangle, and is running for the UDA governor seat for the UDA ticket against Fendan Waititu and Kimani Wamatangi. But there's an issue raised there and said that IEBC have their own register, we have our own register. Which one have we used? Because as I see, there is a collision. So which of the registers should the party use in the primaries? Because that is also the bottom line for the chaotic scenes that witnessed yesterday.
Before Wakili responds, because he's in that field, I think the election under the law states that what was expected, parties should use party member register. And that's why you saw there was a strong push by these parties that we've opened registration to the general public. I saw ODM said registration is free at the moment back then. UDA was also saying the same. But now, when you open the register for people to register, and then you close that window for the nomination exercise, and then at the end of the day, you abandon this party register and then you go for the IBC register. What then is the essence of this party register? Are they just there for ceremonial purposes? So I think even as Wakili, you respond to that. We want to understand to which extent is the law strict on how the political parties need to conduct their party primaries. Because we cannot just leave this exercise that parties can decide to change the rules of the game in the game. Yeah? From the onset, aspirants must know that as a party, we are going to use strictly party membership register. So that when you get there, you should not start asking questions, because if that is what we agreed for the aspirant meetings, so when we go there, that is what I expect there. But anything short of that, then certainly, whoever, if somebody says that he felt that wasn't fair, he has an issue, an important issue that need to be looked at.
Okay.
Yes.
For me, my take would be very simple. You know, the philosophy behind coming up with the Political Parties Act was so that we could regulate this political scene to ensure that ultimately we do not have members or Kenyans just coming up with, you know, with organizations that are not regulated, that then participate in a very important exercise, that is the democratic, exercise of choosing our leaders. And so, before a political party is registered, there's a threshold that political party is supposed to meet. It's supposed to have presence in more than 24 counties. It's supposed to have a minimum of a particular number of of Kenyans having subscribed as members of that party. And that is why even in the run-up to clearing or rather sanitizing the various political registers, you would find that you initially were had considered yourself as a member of let's say Jubilee. But then when you confirm with the Register of Political Parties, you find that you've suddenly been registered as a member of UPA, and then you ask yourself, how did you get yourself to UPA? So there were other factors that were considered, or rather there are things that happened behind the scenes before even the political parties were registered. You would find that political parties would register Kenyans even without their knowledge to parties that they are not subscribed themselves to. So what is the philosophy of having political parties that have that the Register of Political Parties would insist that a register of its members is deposited with the Register of Political Parties, that a party constitution is registered with the is registered and deposited with the Register of Political Parties. It is so that when there comes to the time of exercising or running the affairs of political parties, then they are guided by the constitution. They are guided by, you know, the policies that they have put in place as that political parties. Would it then be proper for members who are or for persons who are not members of a political parties or of a particular political party to participate in making the decision that affects that political party? My answer to that is no. So even logically, you would expect that as they, as they get to this very important task of choosing who is going to represent that political party in the general election, it should be restricted to members of that or any of that political parties. Because then if you open it to the general public to participate in decision making for that political parties, then you may not really get up, you may not really get a clear picture of the decision of that particular political party. So even on the face of it, without even looking at the legal aspect and and all these the legislative aspect, even just logically, it is expected that members of a particular house would sit down and make a make a decision that affects their house. And unlike inviting strangers or inviting other passerbys to to come and make decisions for them. Yes.
And you need to add something on that.
Yeah, then maybe also to expand on that, I will then wonder where is a place of membership voice in instances where these political parties resort to a consensus as a mode of picking their candidates. While under the law, consensus is also, and in most of these political parties, consensus is also one of the ways they can come up with their candidates. And they can, I think for a case like ODM, when you look at their party constitution, it also allows them to issue direct tickets. And this is something that has happened in the ongoing party primaries. We've seen major political parties resort to consensus. But then my issue has been how popular is that exercise among the party members? Because for the party, that could be the cheapest way and maybe the most appropriate way to go, like maybe Jubilee has chosen. I saw the Secretary General for Jubilee say that for them, they won't be going for the nomination, so they resort to consensus. But have you sought the approval of the party membership? Who are the common people who subscribe to that party? Or when you decide that this is the method you want to go, does it mean that the views of the people who are your members do not count in your ultimate decision making? So according to me, as much as the parties will prefer other methods of coming up with the candidates, that method could be okay with the party. But if you listen to the people, the common people who make up these political parties, they will obviously go for the idea of nomination, where yet the party will resort to some other mechanism of picking their candidates, which they are legally allowed. But then the bigger picture should be, we also need to put into consideration of what are our members saying. Even though as a party we feel that this candidate has been with the party for a long time, he has been supporting party activities, but then at the general election, the people are going to decide. You may give this particular candidate you presume to be popular and loyal to the party, but to the people who will vote for representation, they may decide that we want to vote this person out. So that gets these political parties in a scenario where they front candidates, then they end up being flawed.
And then at the same time, the consensus, you're talking about the consensus part of the party primaries being one that is neglecting the voice of the people. But as well, we've also seen a scenario like take of recent the one of MC Jesse, that he made his candidature very popular in a very short period of time, continued to campaign and seeking the UDA ticket. But when it comes to the nomination and the consensus, you find he has been dropped, and then they have gone for a less popular, I would say, candidate. Do we see errors in the consensus isolating some of the candidates who have a potential of even winning?
You see, just like my colleague has said, we have various ways or rather political parties have various ways of nominating persons to represent them in the general election. We have this one of the universal suffrage, that is the nomination. Then we have consensus building, and then there's the direct nomination or the direct tickets. It really depends because there are political parties in this country that would not even they will not even think of nominations in the first place because not so many people have expressed interest in the party itself to vie for the various positions. So let's say, for instance, if I'm going for member of county assembly South Sea Ward in Nairobi County for instance, and then it so happens that I'm a candidate, and then there is another candidate that has also expressed interest, and this candidate probably has never campaigned at all during this nomination process. And in all fairness, it so appears that I'm the most popular candidate within this ward, that is the South Sea Ward. What then would happen if we have to use resources as a party to conduct nomination within this ward, where when the results are very obvious that I would definitely come out as a winner? The party may decide that instead of us going and using resources and our time for this particular ward, then let's give direct tickets. Or these other colleague of mine, like what happened in Westlands with Nelson Harvey. At the very last minute, on the eve of the nomination, that was yesterday or the other day, this other candidate comes and concedes defeat and says they're not going to vie, they are not going to contest in the nominations for member of parliament for Westlands ward, as in for Westlands constituency. So that was a consensus. This candidate comes in and says they're not going to. So the various political parties can experiment with all these options that they have within their constitutions to ensure that they have a very strong candidate. Because remember, at the end of the day, they want to pick the best in their lot to go and represent them in the general election. So whichever means that they are going to use, whether it is by universal suffrage, that is in areas that are highly contested, or in areas where there is no big contest, then we also have the aspect of we don't need really to tire our candidates with especially the issue of resources, because you would find that let's say like a party like Jubilee, like Mr. Oleso said, a party like Jubilee would say we want to make it easy for our candidates during the nomination, so that the monies that they would have otherwise used in the nominations, they spare that money so that yes for purposes of the general election. And you would find, like, probably let's say a party like UDA, a candidate, for them to get the nomination certificate at the primaries, let's say they have used 10 million. So that by the time they are getting to campaign for the general elections, they are already 10 million, they're already 10 million down. And this is one, and then they get a candidate that hasn't used any money. They've been given direct nomination. And remember, when it comes to nomination, it is an individual effort. But then when it comes to the general election, it is actually a party affair. So the party the party will come in because it is the party's name that is on the line here. They would want to have as many senators as possible, as many MPs as possible, as many MCAs as possible. So they would even want to sponsor some of their candidates that are representing them in the general election.
The money factor is one that has been mentioned a lot when it comes to nomination, especially there was one that was hotly contested just here in Nairobi, the Starehe constituency of Honorable Jagua and Simon Mbugua. The center of that being each one of them has the ability to facilitate any election in the UDA party, therefore making it so difficult for consensus, because there was a week that the deputy president was leading a consensus between the two, but it became so difficult because of the funding factor. So how is the funding factor and the money factor now isolating some of the candidates?
I think when it comes to the consensus that in future, we need to limit these political parties. And When you look across the board, when you refer to Homa Bay County, where Gladys Wanga, who is now who is going to fly the ODM flag for the gubernatorial race, was picked by ODM ticket and handed the direct nomination, and others were persuaded to step down in her favor. But we saw Kidero strongly come out and say that I was not consulted, nobody consulted me, and therefore I'm going all the way to the ballot. So then that leaves you with questions of why will a party then encourage people to subscribe to it, to run on its ticket, and just when the window for these aspirants to look for alternative vehicles to use is closed, you then come and give them information that, sorry, you will not be running on our party ticket. That erodes the confidence that people will have to run on that party in future. Because why then the same candidate, suppose Kidero intends to run for the same seat in 2027 election, why will he still subscribe to that party in that subsequent election when he knows that at the end of the day, ODM could as well lock you out when there is no window for party hopping and tells you there is no way you can proceed. So yes, consensus could be a good idea, but it should be only consensus where candidates are willing to agree. In areas where candidates feel both of us are strong, parties should, we need to have a law that will prevent party from forcing some candidates to step down for others. I have seen pictures of some of the candidates who've been told to step down in favor of other candidates, and then parties promise them you are going to get these roles. When you see their faces when they are addressing the media, I think they're not happy faces. So you can be able to tell that these people have been coerced to shelve their ambition in favor of these other popular candidates the party perceived to. But then we know for a fact in some areas, and especially because ODM has in the recent past tried to use that approach, and the candidates it perceived to be strong are flawed by members of the affiliated party to ODM. So that tells you that maybe the candidate you picked or the method you used to select this candidate for consensus was not appropriate at all.
Ashwab, would you add something on that before we
Yes,
cross over to...
I just a quick one. Over and above popularity of a candidate, there are other factors that probably political parties will not want to bring in the fore that they use in determining who otherwise becomes their candidate, including issues of party loyalty.
Towing the line.
Yes, it can't be that I've been loyal to this party for 10, 15 years, and I've given it unwavering support, and then some other colleague of mine just comes in, but because they have all the monies, because they've suddenly become very popular within the region that we are campaigning, that then the party is going to, give you the ticket because you've suddenly come in and because you've used either the economic resources that you have as a candidate. You've suddenly become very party within this environment that we are operating in. So we also have to be alive to these other extraneous reasons and circumstances that parties would consider in coming up with the decisions that they come up with. But even most importantly, the issue of party loyalty. You don't want someone, and we've seen betrayals in political parties. You come to our political party today, we probably even give you direct nominations, and then 1 month after the general election, you've already started, taking a totally different trajectory from the aspirations, of the party that either nominated you to parliament or that you rode on its shoulders when you got to parliament. Yes.
I will differ with Wakili Biko on that one, and I will strongly differ with him, because if you ask me about party loyalty, I don't think we have as such when it comes to our political parties. What changes in politics is interest.
Okay.
When you look at people, let's say we could even take a case of Mike Sonko. Mike Sonko was a strong, loyal supporter of President Uhuru Kenyatta. Today, he speaks a different language of Wiper Party, because definitely it is the interest that has changed here. How then will you tell before a general election that this person is loyal and won't cross to the other political party? If you go to Malindi, Aisha Juma was at some point taken to Pangani, they were Pangani 6, I think around 2015, 2016, for strongly defending Raila Odinga. She was a strong believer of Honorable Raila Odinga back then. And ODM, even was it the Malindi by-election, where Jubilee presented Philip Charo and ODM presented William Tengo, who was the candidate who eventually went and won that seat in the by-election. But came when 2017 came, ODM saw it wise to reward that seat to Aisha Juma, who was perceived to be a loyal member of the ODM party, at the expense of the newly elected MP. But soon after the elections, her interests were not maybe well catered for within the Orange Party. Then she crossed camp. So if it was an idea of loyal before that general election, Aisha was loyal. But after the elections, were the same interests that she was aspiring for still being accommodated within the ODM organization? Then maybe she thought they are no longer accommodated, and then they could be accommodated somewhere else. So you have people, and then as of now, I think one of the strong members of UDA, people who Deputy President rely on for the campaigns in Malindi, is Aisha Juma. So the issue of party loyalty sometimes do not really count. It only has to do with how much, how is the interest being catered for. Look at the Kwale governor. Kwale Gavan was a strong supporter of ODM, Salim Vuria. Today, he's a UDA diehard. So where did the loyalty disappear to?
No, my point is, you see, ultimately, political parties, and especially for a political party that has a presidential candidate with the prospects of, clinching the the presidential seat, is looking at, I'm getting into State House, yes. At the end of the day, am I going to have control of government itself, right? And especially within the assembly. Remember, when political parties are campaigning, they have manifestos, which at the end of the elections, they would want to implement the manifestos as they promised Kenyans. Some of these things that they have to implement have to go through parliament. So you're asking yourself, will I have, and it is something that has played out itself quite clearly within the last, two parliaments. You find that President Uhuru has a bill that he wants, to go through parliament, and it is about the question of numbers. You remember how the Nusumukate government things used to play out during Kibaki's time. You would find that the Right Honorable Raila Odinga had the majority of legislators in parliament. And so it became very difficult for President Kibaki to push his agenda on the floor of the House, because he never had the numbers. So we want to look at, and that is what political parties look at. At the end of the day, in the event that we become government, will it be an easy sale for us to pass legislations or policies that then would tie in with the manifestos that we promised our people? So it is an issue of numbers, and the issue of numbers will have to be determined even at the point of nomination. We don't want to nominate someone and probably, let's say, we are targeting to have, let's say, 200 members of parliament. And then at the end of the day, when you get to parliament, you decamp and you go and start supporting the policies of our opponent. It's all about numbers.
Let me ask Wakili one question before you proceed, Chris. During the entire consensus exercise in all the political parties, have we really seen in even a single case where a less known, maybe young person who is not financially equipped being given that ticket on the basis of consensus? Or who are the people who are considered in terms of consensus? because it can't be that the only people who are loyal to the party are the people who have the financial muscles to push the ideas of the party. I could as well be so much loyal to the party than this my opponent who could have more resources than I am. But when we go to the consensus, it is already known that chances of I being selected to fly the party ticket are slim. So this guy is going to be considered, despite the fact that I could be more loyal to the party than my opponent. So the issue of how people are loyal to the party, to me, really does not really... These parties try to look at some other factors that will determine who flies the party ticket. My friend Wakili, in Kilifi, we are going to see a scenario, most likely a scenario where maybe Gideon Mungaro will be considered to fly the ODM ticket if they were to go for the consensus. Gideon Mungaro in 2017 decamped to Jubilee.
Yes.
And I think that is when he lost that seat on a Jubilee ticket. And then he's now back to the ODM party. There were people who were in ODM party when Mungaro left, and he has come back to the party, and these guys are still there. So in such a case, how then will you tell that Mungaro is more loyal than these guys who've been given the party? Is it not that because maybe Mungaro is bringing something these loyal guys can't bring on table?
I think the question of loyalty is one that we cannot finish because we'll analyze each and every person.
Yeah, and it's the same thing with Busia as well.
right from even some senior politicians. But I want us to take a look at something else that has also been on the front line, and also was a basis by the UDA on why they had so many chaos, saying that we delayed to take the ballot boxes because some of our vehicles didn't have fuel.
Let me excuse.
I think that is something that has been happening. And Monica Juma, that is the CS of Energy, came out yesterday and talked about the fuel crisis in the country. And there's a statement that she put out. I want us to take a listen if we have that video so that we can hear what she said. And then we briefly talk about that before we also conclude this discussion, because we can't conclude before we talk about the fuel crisis. So this is what Monica Juma had to say yesterday on what Kenyans are crying about fuel crisis.
That the country is sufficiently stocked with petroleum products, that our importation process and schedule has not been affected, and that in fact we have quantities that would last us up to the end of June without any issues. That this government will not tolerate any entity or person that is causing distress, either by creating an artificial problem or stress. And in this regard, I wish to indicate any entity that is not ready, that is not able, that is not willing to work within the framework of the laws of Kenya is invited to vacate.
Gentlemen, you've heard what Monica Juma had to say in regards to the fuel crisis. We have enough fuel. We are not going to tolerate anyone who doesn't want to talk to the Kenyan laws. So who is fooling who? Because so far the fuel crisis continues. Listening to that statement by the CS Energy.
Chris, but I've asked myself this question several times. Are we interested in, as Kenyans, you see, if you cascade it down to the kawaida mwananchi, the common mwananchi is not interested in the reserves that you guys have in either your strategic reserves as a country or the in the depots and all that. What the common mwananchi is interested in is fuel at the pump. Do we have fuel at the pump? So it may not and it doesn't really interest us as Kenyans, like the Waziri puts it, that we have enough fuel. If you're saying we have enough fuel, let us see this fuel at the pump. As late as yesterday in the evening, we had long queues, and when it comes to around 11 or 12 in the night, all these we either do not have fuel at the pump, or these fuel stations are closing for whatever reason, for one reason or the other, and they're telling Kenyans, proceed home, come back tomorrow. Let us proceed with this exercise tomorrow. For me, as a common mwananchi, I'm more interested with, do we have fuel at the pump? We are not interested with all these politics about us having a lot of fuel in our strategic reserves, or whether there's been a dispute between the oil marketing companies and the country. We are interested in fuel at the pump. That is what me as a common mwananchi I'll be interested in.
Lesson.
Chris, the blame game between the state and the oil marketers is uncalled for. Like Wakili says, what we are interested is we want to fuel at the pump. And remember, just yesterday, I think they increased the price of fuel at the pumps, varying from I think top to close to 10 shillings per litre.
Yeah.
After that crisis, then you later on come and increase the price of fuel at the pump, considering the fact that fuel is a major product when it comes to the other factors of production. At the moment, already the cost of living is very high for the common man, and the people are not for sure affording even the basic needs that they need. And what the CS is also now not telling us is what is the government supposed to do that it hasn't done, which make the oil marketers not being able to release the fuel, if at all it is there. That's not something that Waziri is telling the Republic. But then at the end of the day, we are aware that the president did sign a fuel subsidy that was supposed to go to the oil marketers. And if at all that money was availed, and that is what the oil marketers were asking for, why then don't we have fuel at the pumps? Could it be an issue of economic sabotage by the oil marketers? Because the other day, the CEO of Ruby's, there was a notice that he was supposed to be deported for economic sabotage. But as we try now move in, maybe from what Waziri says, that they are now going to move in to punish the oil marketers that try to bring to create an artificial problem. Has the government fulfilled their promise to these oil marketers, so that now we can say, as a government, this is what we promised, we have delivered what we promised, or rather what we agreed in the meeting. Why are you not releasing fuel? I think there is something the government is not telling the Republic. It could be, I was speaking to a friend of mine, and he was telling me that, you see, as those of us in the oil business, we have doubt with the government. The government, yes, say that it's going to release money, but what we agreed is not what was released to the public. So how then are we able to believe that the government is going to release the remaining amount of cash in the required period? So, but if we proceed to sell the fuel as it is now, then these are monumental losses we are going to make. So the blame game, as they proceed, the person who is suffering is the common man, the common mwananchi. So I think this is something that the president need to step in now, because it is a national crisis. The prices are high, but even with the high prices, people still will want to get a liter or two for the same fuel, but it is not there. So for President Uhuru Kenyatta, if there is an emergency that he needs to attend to, then it should be this fuel crisis. We can put aside the issue of Azimio and other political issues, and then focus on the economy. Let Kenyans, first of all, be comfortable, then we head to the campaign and elections. Okay, and Ashura, your final comment on the fuel crisis would be what?
The fuel crisis is to be attributed to government, completely to government. I had quite some comments to make on this fuel nonsense that we experience in the country. You can't explain why the landing cost of fuel at our ports is at 60-70 shillings, and then we ultimately end up paying 147 shillings at the pump. There's so much. When we were expanding our ports, at one point, we were told as Kenyans that the reason why we are having high fuel prices at the pump is because the ships take long before the fuel is offloaded. And then there was this push about expanding our ports, so that the time that the ships take to offload fuel is then we lessen that time. We did that. We pumped a lot of money in the expansion of our ports, including the LAPSET program, this Lamu port and all that. We've injected so much money, and this money is, you know, the effect of our investment in the reduction of the fuel prices is supposed to be felt right now. And considering that even the CS would come and say that we have fuel to push us for the next
6 months.
Is it 60?
Till June.
Yes, till June. It means that we have fuel that should not be dictated by the current market prices.
Okay.
Because we already have fuel. Why would they sell us fuel that we purchased 2-3 months ago at the current market price, and then now tell us that we have increased by 9 bob because a barrel of oil has gone up by 9 shillings.
Okay.
They are selling. It means they are selling to us fuel that they already had in their strategic reserves. Why should it affect the current, the current market price of oil at the pump? So for me, there's a lot of information that the government is not telling Kenyans. The issue of subsidy, for instance, the oil marketers have been, all this. Government has come out very strongly to say that they have already paid these monies to the oil marketers. Why then are we having, all these uncertainties at the pump? So there's so much that government is not telling us, which government is supposed to be telling Kenyans.
Just one question I want to.
They're about to cut us on
to put to the government. Why then will we have the landing cost at 60 shillings per litre at the port? Then you come to give fuel subsidy. Why can't we just reduce the landing cost there so that you don't have this push and pull when it comes to subsidies? Because if these guys are complaining that the landing cost of fuel is expensive, can't the government then move in and work on the landing cost so that now you don't have to come and work with the subsidies, because now these guys will have a softer landing at the ports?
I think that is a good place to also wind up this discussion, raising the point of having invested in the industry and as well suffering from it. I think that is where we're going to wind up this particular discussion this morning, having exhausted everything that has been happening all through the week. And I could see the bitterness in Biko, especially if you are driving a gas line.
No, we are feeling it. We are feeling it at the pump.
You have to cry very hard so that you can be heard. Thank you, gentlemen, for making time this morning. On my near right is Oleso Odhiambo, is a political strategist. On the far end is Biko Ashoya, who is an advocate of the High Court of Kenya. And that is where we wind up this discussion this morning. And before we go for a very short commercial break, I want to leave you with the Kenyan perspective on where is the fuel.
Morning, coming to you from this South Sea fuel pump station, whereby we are just here to post-determine the issue of fuel crisis and fuel shortage in the country. This week's On Kenyan Perspective edition, we're going to look at what the Kenyans saying on the issue of the fuel shortage in the country. Now, joining me are just some of the Kenyans, motorists, drivers, Uber drivers, who of course were going to share with us their perspective and what's their opinion on the issue of fuel shortage in the country.
Ngoja mafuta 2 hours hapa. Na nasema hivi, kama ni mtu anaweza fanya tuumie hivi, haki ya Mungu mimi namnunulia chai. Huyo mtu ni mwanaume. Kama ni ukweli anatutesa, tunakaa kwa laini hivi, vitu inapanda juu ya mafuta ati kwa sababu ya interest yake.
Je, unakubaliana na usemi wa serikali kwamba kuna mafuta ni vile tu kwa sababu kuna watu ambao wameamua kuchukua sheria mikononi mwao wakaamua kupeleka mafuta katika nchi zingine za nje kama Uganda?
Mafuta kama on Monday mtu aliyeniuzia mafuta na kibuyu aliitoa Uganda, hakuitoa Kenya. Na nikamuuliza how come si umepata mafuta Uganda na mimi niko Kenya sijaipata? Akaniambia mimi nilivuka mpaka na nikanunua lita 40 huko. Nikakuja nayo ili nisaidie.
Nimekaa almost 3 hours nikiongojea mafuta, na unapata sometimes ikifika mahali unaenda kufikiwa unaambiwa hakuna mafuta. Sasa tutakuwa na hiyo changamoto. Hatujui lenye tunaweza fanya kama wananchi wa kawaida, na bado tuko na serikali, tunajiuliza hii serikali inafanya kazi gani?
Sasa tunaomba serikali yetu na watu section wa mafuta wafanye kazi mzuri. Mimi nimekwama, nimekaa na hizi vitu vingine, hata yangu ingine mtu kupanga line na ile tin nikanyang'anywa wakati nilikuwa nimeenda kuangalia gari mali imekwama. Wakaiba ile tin. Sasa nimetafuta hii. Hii pia is very risky in our operate. So Kama wanataka hivyo, tutakaa tu hivyo.
An Uber driver is trying to explain the challenges that he has undergone as a Uber driver, saying that he doesn't know the country is heading to the Easter holidays and he doesn't know what to expect. How do you talk about the situation of the fuel crisis in the country?
I believe it's a very big challenge nationally in Kenya, and not only in Kenya. It's a global problem because of the current situation in Ukraine. But coming back to Kenya, it has really affected us. But we need to vote for leaders who can solve issues that are currently happening. I don't believe now a politician who is currently a campaign, instead of going to parliament and see what can we do, because those are the people who pass those bills. And look at the countries on a standstill. I've come from Naivasha for a meeting. I was supposed to be there at 8 o'clock. I had to change the car because hakuna mafuta. You can imagine mwananchi mwingine ana struggle, kutakuwa namna gani?
Labda mmeambiwa namna gani hapo? Wamesema mafuta wataleta baadaye ama mambo namna gani?
Hawajatuambia dorote, wametuambia mafuta imeisha, tuende tujaribu mahali pengine.
Sasa hii unaona kama utaenda mpaka wapi kupata mafuta?
Sasa sijui saa hii kwa sababu nimetembea petrol station zote, kuna jamu, unaweza enda tena nikifika huko nimepanga line kama 2 hours, nimeambiwa mafuta imeisha. Mbona waruhusu mafuta iende huko, halafu serikali ituambie kuna watu wanachukua mafuta nje? Kwani hiyo mafuta inaruka juu ya hewa inaenda nje? Na serikali iko na jukumu ya kukomesha hiyo tabia.
Just like you've heard, you have seen, and you can see that the commotion is already looming here at this pump, whereby it is said that now the fuel is over. A motorist queuing over 3 hours just in a wait of this commodity. Now right now, Kenyans are asking, where is the fuel? There is nothing synonymous to what the government of Kenya is saying according to the fuel crisis in the country. The government officials saying that we have fuel in the country, while this is the crystal clear situation right here at the fuel pumps, with motorists and drivers and also people, pedestrians and passengers, citizens having to wait for more than 3 hours just for their weight of this commodity. Reporting for Kirk TV, I'm Dennis Unene.
PCA Ongata Booth Girls High School of Excellence is an outstanding girls boarding high school ideal for learning. Located in a quiet and serene environment in Ongata Rongai, Kajiado County. The school aims to produce highly qualified students who will be readily admitted to world-class high institutions of learning and graduate into outstanding citizens of integrity.
We offer quality education in conformity with the Ministry of Education standards and guidelines. Our tutors are highly qualified and experienced. Our school fees is friendly. We have considered the aftermath of the COVID-19 pandemic.
We are appealing to you that you enroll your girls in Form 1, Form 2 and Form 3. Our school is founded on Christian background, and we are surely assuring you that when you bring your girl, you will not regret.
Founded and grounded on Christian values, discipline is one of its fundamental values.
We take care of our girls spiritually. We have a church just across here where they worship every Sunday, and in between the week, we have a very, very strong Christian union and other activities that they also run. We really encourage you to bring your children here, that they may get the experience of learning in a Christian environment.
The school boasts of modern state-of-the-art facilities such as spacious classrooms, a well-equipped library, science and computer laboratories, a dining hall and a modern kitchen with a robust feeding program. We take keen interest in nurturing students' talents, hence our semi-Olympic sized swimming pool and spacious fields.
When looking for a school where your daughter can go through a transformative process of education, do not look beyond PCEA Ongata Booth Girls High School of Excellence. Give us the girl and we will give you back a holistic lady of dignity and integrity.
We welcome your feedback on our programming. For questions or comments, kindly get in touch with us via email info@kirktv.org, SMS 0111 220044, or call us on 0794 588 054.
Alright, welcome back. In case you are joining us, this is Kirk TV in the morning, where we take a review of what has been happening all through the week. And as we continue with our program on our weekly segment of health segment, I want us to take a look at the public health awareness, which is a very key component in disease promotion and prevention. Launching the health promotion early this week, the First Lady, Margaret Kenyatta, rallied stakeholders in the health sector to invest more in interventions aimed at strengthening Kenya's disease resilience. The First Lady was speaking during the International Health Conference held at Kenyatta University, a conference that was aimed at looking at the COVID-19 journey 2 years down the line and what Kenya has been able to learn from the pandemic, as well as the measures to incorporate in case of such future pandemics and epidemics. And this is what Ida Monzati, our health reporter, compiled.
Whereas we've made remarkable successes in the control of the spread of COVID-19, we're yet to achieve our vaccination target. The efficacy of the COVID-19 has determined that the vaccines increase our protection from the virus. We are not safe unless we are all vaccinated. Going forward, we must ensure that our health promotion efforts are inclusive. We must ensure that they enable our populations to have access to affordable health care, as well as have all the information that will help them determine their health outcomes. Health literacy efforts and multi-sectorial action that contribute to increase healthy behaviors are key lessons that are essential in safeguarding the public's health. Our health and well-being is indeed the prevailing concern that takes precedence over all other issues. The multiple dynamics we face in ensuring that we build a resilient and stronger health system remains a national priority. Our collective diverse knowledge provides significant opportunities that we can leverage to develop meaningful solutions to global health crises. Through clear communication based on health literacy, as well as through collaboration across countries, disciplines, health and education systems. It's for this reason that I once again express my delight that this health promotion conference is underlining the importance of promoting health during and beyond COVID-19. You all here have opportunity to contribute towards a better understanding of the world we currently live in and development of best practices towards promoting the health agenda in the coming future.
I'm certain you will find that health promotion is a worthy complement to your efforts in your health initiatives. The ministry indeed is committed to ensuring that all Kenyans receive quality health services, but also that diseases are prevented through empowering people to take charge of their health care. I think we've learned through the COVID-19 pandemic the role of individual responsibility when it comes to our health care. And so really, Your Excellency, today we are absolutely delighted to have you here. If I could scorecard you as you come to the end of your tenure, I would say each and every initiative that you've touched on is indeed touching on health promotion. From working with mothers, from working with children, from working on elements of nutrition, Even the Beyond Zero Marathon that I have participated in and come last was a good initiative when it comes to health promotion.
All right, and that is what had been happening at the start of this week in regards to public health awareness by the First Lady Margaret Kenyatta and also the cabinet, the CAS for health, that is Dr. Mercy Mwangangi, talking about public health awareness. And that is what we had for you in the Health Insight this week. And I want us to switch gears now and get into a different discussion on matters to do with entrepreneurship and the startups of in entrepreneurship. And we'll be talking about the online market venture, of course, the challenge of being able to buy and sell on online platforms. And I want to welcome my guest in studio, who is Ken Kimani. He is the founder and also the CEO, say the now CEO, probably. The now CEO. The now CEO of masoko.co.
Mashops.
Mashops, I mean, mashops.co.ke, an online marketing platform that is just newly founded. I just want to take us to get into the discussion right from the start. What necessitated the start of the venture?
Okay, last year, actually, it's very weird for me. When I was watching this film, it's called The Blind Spot. I know it's scripted, but there's this lady, and she was doing a lot of programming and coding. And let me tell you, Chris, when I finished that program or that show, the very first 5 seasons, I started my online classes for coding. Now, after that, I got a scholarship with Google at Andela to study programming and coding. And after that, now I wanted to have my own product, which is mashops.co.ke.
Okay.
So Mashops comes at a time where there's a problem in the Kenyan market in e-commerce, and also for walk-in shops. For my mom, she's a witness of a handgun point akiendea vitu kwa soko. You understand? But if there was a platform whereby she can purchase things and items wherever she is, get delivered, hangewaipata such a hassle. So that's what I'm trying to build. Yeah.
To link the gap between having to struggle to buy and even sell as well. Let's talk about mashops.co.ke. Use the entire name. Let's talk about Mashops. That is the venture. What is it all about? Because you just hear Mashops and you can easily tell someone it's a buy and sell platform, but very few would be able to understand what is that venture.
So mashops.co.ke is a platform where it's just a multi-vendor platform whereby you buyer, you can buy products from different sellers in the platform. And for sellers, all they need to do is they log into the app, register as a vendor, which is absolutely for free, and after they register, all they need to do is they start selling the products. We are the salesperson for that vendor. You understand? So Mashops is generally, it's just like an Amazon. You understand? It's a Kenyan Amazon market. Yeah.
And as you also talk about, being a platform of sell and buy, there is also the aspect that you put into place in order for you to meet the necessities of someone being able to efficiently buy and also efficiently sell. For Mashops platform, what have you engaged in so that you can make it an efficient, platform?
So, Chris, in Kenya, the biggest e-commerce platform is Jumia. And I follow a friend of mine, our biggest entrepreneur in the US is called Andrea Gazdecki. He always says this: if you want to build a very good startup, all you need to do is look at your competitor, read the reviews, see the negative reviews. If you see the negative, now build more improved version of your product plus the things that they like. So what I did is I did my research on Jumia, what people like on Jumia, what are they saying the negative part of Jumia. One of the things that was customer care, and that's why we come in. We have a very good, I personally talk to vendors, personally for me. I make time for vendors and talk to them, speak to them directly. You understand? So I took the problems that Jumia the reviews that they had, the negative, and then I made a better product. That's my shop.
And picking it from the scratch, what has been the challenge right from the start? You know, because it's a new platform, and you have to convince this vendor that I have this platform, and they haven't seen it before. Where do you start from?
Wow, it's a huge step, and it's a huge risk. But one of the things that we are doing is we are dealing so much of online advertising, and the huge something called challenge is something to do with finances and funding. I am bootstrapping for common mwananchi language, inamaanisha natoa pesa yangu kwa mfuko, invest into the business. I have no investors, I have no angel investor or venture capitalist. It's me and my business partner. So the biggest one, I don't have yet like a big team to run, because I need a big team who can go to different places where they can convince the vendors. We have this platform, and then when they convince the vendors, because now we have the products in the platform, what do? We need to sell these products, because when we sell these products is when every salesperson at my shops, it's when Ken Kimani and any other person employed by my shops is going to get paid. So if we don't make the sales, and to make the sales we need a lot of sales people, because we are like, it's a sales work that we are doing. You understand? So we need a huge team. For technical part of it, that was not a challenge. I undertook a very well course, and I can say YouTube is one of the greatest platforms that you can learn any course from. Yeah. So
you came up with my shops itself, and it's been you talked about it being a competitor of Jumia, an existing company that also boasts of big sales. For the Kenyan people, is it a market for the local products for the Kenyan people, or how extensive is my shops?
For now, we are going with the local products, because we need to verify the seller. We don't want to have so much of goods selling. And one of the things that we are priding ourselves at my shops is we are reliable. We want to be there for the customer. We are there convenient. We don't want, like when you buy this coat, you see this coat in the picture, but Kenya unaleta, it's a very different coat. So we want to be convenient. So we want to verify our sellers and our vendors there, and we want to be affordable. We don't want to maybe rise the prices for out there. But one thing I can tell you is that Jumia has been there. It's making a lot of money. I know it's making a lot of money, and it's a big risk going after Jumia, because I know they are a competitor. And by the way, Jumia is the third largest e-commerce platform in Kenya. But compared, Kenyans, they have something called, we are using 72% of people use mobile money transfers, 72% of Kenyan population, and 26% of Kenyan population pay bills non-online. Make payments online. So the 26% is the percentage that we are going for. I know it's a big risk for Jumia, going after Jumia, but we believe in ourselves.
And there's that aspect of what you buy versus what you deliver.
Yeah.
Because I also had that bad experience of buying something and getting a totally different koti size.
Unapata it's another one. Yeah.
Yes, so it's very difficult. So how are you meeting that criteria to be able to cut that point of what people need is what you have on your platform?
So right now, what people need is what I have on my platform. Is like right now, when I was launching my shops and I got to many calls, I did like a WhatsApp broadcast. I told my friends to do the same. What they really need is a service platform, whereby you as a journalist, you as an MC, you have a service where you can sell your product as a service. And that's not included in Jumia, Jumia and in my shops. And I'm thinking about it so much, because one of the pillars that I'm using when building any startup, because I know a lot of startups are going to come, and I can tell anyone out there who want to build a startup, is don't build a product that you think people want. Build a product that people want. Right now, yes, my shop is there, and people are like, yeah, goods, products, movable goods, that's good, but we need a service product, you understand? So I think that's a very good way to learn what people want with the customer's feedback. You get in a call, as a founder, you need to get on a call with people, learn from your customers, learn from them what they really need.
It's quite proving to be a very big challenge, as well, putting up with the pace of such an online marketing platform. But again, the startups have their own challenges, have their own difficulties, writing from the the finances, the stability, and also venturing into the local market. Those are factors that probably many startups would complain or rather cry off. So for my shops, having to encounter all this, what is the plan to maneuver from in between the startup challenges of maybe financing, now that just began the other day, and you talked about not having adequate sales to be able to boast of big sales. So how is for my shops to be able to maneuver in between that?
Okay, so for my shops, what we are doing is I have a very good co-founder. His name is Martin Moshiri, and he's in charge of the marketing and the operations of my shops. Well, I'm in charge of mostly dealing with vendors and sellers and the technical part of it. So what we are doing as startups, actually, let me tell you, be honest, even our business permits, it was late. So I know it's a huge challenge for startups to come in Kenya. But what I believe in my shops, because we are going to make money when we sell. So tunafaa tujitume. Tukijituma, that's when we go to make money. So if we really need my shops and any other startups to go on and to rise, you need to have a business structure and to have a business model of how you're going to approach things, you understand? So if you have a very good business model, I can be able to convince even someone like Sambu, hey Sambu, I need 100K to invest on this thing. Yeah, and also another thing is that my shops is going to accept cryptocurrency. Yesterday, Amazon announced they are going to accept Bitcoin, but from the word go, when I was building my shops, that's the dream that I have, that even in Kenya, if you operate in cryptocurrency, because I know in Kenya there are some Kenyans who are going to operate in cryptocurrency, they can pay via the cryptocurrency. And with that, we just need to, like right now, one Bitcoin is around 4 million. You understand? So for us, what we can see and how we can improve on ourselves and maybe market more and invest more is when someone pays via the cryptocurrency, we cannot withdraw that cryptocurrency just right away. What we need to do is find money, give the vendor his portion, and then invest that money to the cryptocurrency world.
And that is quite an insightful, address in trying to cut into the market. Of course, so much tragedy if you don't put a very good strategy while you start. For the startups in this country, especially in our country, where our market is reluctant into picking up the small startups. But as well, someone would be outside there asking themselves, my shops, and you need to buy, we need to sell. If someone wants to sell their product, how do they go about?
Okay, so you just go to myshops.co.ke, and then there's a vendor registration button. Click that button, follow the steps. When you follow the steps, we cannot approve you just directly. We need to get in a call. If you are around Nairobi and it's in environs, we can come to your shops. You have your walk-in shops, and then we can verify the products that you want to put, because we don't want to have like a very untidy shop. You understand? There's untidy shops out there. It's a huge, I don't want to mention it's a name, but it starts with it has a J somewhere. What they do is anyone can take a photo and upload there, and you get the products there. They are not of quality, you understand, compared to Jumia. Jumia, if you've seen Jumia, they have even you can't see like a product with a background. It's a wet background, you understand? So when vendors are uploading their product, we are encouraging them. If you have that product and you are very sure you can get some good quality photos, just take them. Or you cannot, let's come there and let's take the photos, because then again, we don't want to untidy our business just because we want to promote your business.
Don't you think that is an idea of maybe a startup? Because I believe if the business picks up and the startup picks up, there will be a situation where you're having so many sellers coming on board.
Yeah.
So how will you be able now to handle, like, you're having to go to this shop, go to this shop? Is it supposed to be a way where you don't necessarily need to visit this particular shop, but as well, approve these products into your platform and verifying them through the same procedure?
Yeah, there is a way which we were planning to input later in future, because a lot of people right now who we are targeting, our vendors, they don't have like a walk-in shops. So if you have a walk-in shops in near future, we are going to maybe ask you for your business permit. Maybe you can upload your business permit, whereby when you see your business permit, now we can verify you. We can give you like a blue tick or a red tick, something of sort, so that when a buyer is buying from your store, they can see you are verified. And then there is Ken Kimani, who is not verified. Then there is like something we are not very sure, you understand? But now our market being for, or our vendors being for those people who don't have like an online walk-in shops. What do we do there? So there we have maybe to meet, and if the business grows and rises up, more salesperson will be needed to verify the vendors.
And as you also conclude this discussion, the bigger picture is the buyer. So if someone wants to buy, apart from selling now, or someone wants to buy, do they just go in and just order the product from the platform, or what do they do?
Yeah, just go in to myshops.co.ke/shops. There you can just order any product, and then we will get your product will get delivered. When we deliver the product to you, that's when we can only give the buyer, the seller, their money. We cannot give them like before the product is verified and before you have been delivered the product.
So if I buy a product from my shops, do I pay before or after delivery?
So you have to pay before. That's the thing now. You have to pay before. We don't want to have that sort of, you don't pay, you say you pay on delivery, and then there's a delivery cost. But we were planning on, if you don't want to pay on delivery, you want to pay on delivery, what you can do is pay the delivery cost.
Okay.
Then pay half of the money. So that if the product is not of your interest, we can give you the half of the money. But unaona sasa, if I have half of your money, you will feel the pain, and you can maybe chip in and come and clear all the amounts.
Okay.
That's what we are doing.
I think that is a very good place that we need to also to wind up this discussion.
Yeah.
And as we also come to a close and wind up the entire discussion, what would be your talk to anybody who has a startup that they think cannot venture into the local market?
What I can tell you, there's nothing new under the sun. Look at your competitor, see the negative. It's very simple. Build a community. Look at the competitor. See the negative comments in the reviews. Right now you can go to the Play Store, Google App Store, something like that. See the reviews. If you find like a repetitive review, a negative review, just try to build a startup via that now. When you build a startup via that, build a community, because you need a community of buyers to buy, to monetize your product. And when you do that, just launch the product. It's simple as that.
Okay, and then you can finish up. Where can they get information about my shops, and where they can find you? Just the socials.
Okay, my socials is at Ken Kimani Mogo. Yeah, and also if you want to get anything, we want to everything. You can get it from our website. It's www.myshops.co.ke, or our WhatsApp number is 0720174631. Just register there as a My Shops vendor and increase your earnings.
All right, and I think that is a good point that we wind it up. And thank you so much for making time this morning. Ken Kimani, the founder and current CEO.
Yeah, maybe if we have investors, I might be forced to step down for someone.
Else. So, I think we have had a good discussion. So, and we hope the venture can as well pick it up and the local market. And that is where we wind up this particular discussion. I'm taking a very short commercial break, but when we return, coming up shortly, we'll be trending and what's trending on the webs.
Greetings. It is a pleasure to inform you that the Presbyterian Church of East Africa will be holding its first GSE of the 23rd General Assembly from 19th all through to the 22nd of this month. This year's GSE is organized and hosted by the Central Region at Milele Hotel, Nairobi. Commissioners from the 57 presbyteries of the church, as well as delegates from departments and institutions of the church, will be in attendance. The GSE will also receive guests drawn from other Christian churches locally and internationally. Inspiration and ministration will be offered by various choirs drawn from select sections of the church. The theme of the GSE remains to be the theme of the 23rd General Assembly, Give Careful Thought to Your Ways, drawn from Haggai 1:5 Part B. Be sure to catch these events including the Region Night live on Kirk TV on Signet, as well as Kirk TV Kenya on Facebook and YouTube. Kirk TV wishing you happy and reflective Easter holidays. PCA Ongata Booth Girls High School of Excellence is an outstanding girls boarding high school ideal for learning. Located in a quiet and serene environment in Ongata Rongai, Kajiado County. The school aims to produce highly qualified students who will be readily admitted to world-class high institutions of learning and graduate into outstanding citizens of integrity.
We offer quality education in conformity with the Ministry of Education standards and guidelines. Our tutors are highly qualified and experienced. Our school fees is friendly. We have considered the aftermath of the COVID-19 pandemic.
We are appealing to you that you enroll your girls in Form 1, Form 2 and Form 3. Our school is founded on Christian background, and we are surely assuring you that when you bring your girl, you will not regret.
Founded and grounded on Christian values, discipline is one of its fundamental values.
We take care of our girls spiritually. We have a church just across here where they worship every Sunday, and in between the week, we have a very, very strong Christian union and other activities that they also run. We really encourage you to bring your children here that they may get the experience of learning in a Christian environment.
The school boasts of modern state-of-the-art facilities such as spacious classrooms, a well-equipped library, science and computer laboratories, a dining hall and a modern kitchen with a robust feeding program. We take keen interest in nurturing students' talents, hence our semi-Olympic sized swimming pool and spacious fields.
When looking for a school where your daughter can go through a transformative process of education, do not look beyond PCEA Ongata Booth Girls High School of Excellence. Give us the girl and we will give you back a holistic lady of dignity and integrity.
Greetings. It is a pleasure to inform you that the Presbyterian Church of East Africa will be holding its first GSC of the 23rd General Assembly from 19th all through to the 22nd of this month. This year's GSC is organized and hosted by the Central Region at Milele Hotel, Nairobi. Commissioners from the 57 presbyteries of the church, as well as delegates from departments and institutions of the church, will be in attendance. The GSC will also receive guests drawn from other Christian churches locally and internationally. Inspiration and ministration will be offered by various choirs drawn from select sections of the church. The theme of the GSC remains to be the theme of the 23rd General Assembly, Give Careful Thought to Your Ways, drawn from Haggai 1:5 Part B. Be sure to catch these events including the Region Night live on Kirk TV on Signet, as well as Kirk TV Kenya on Facebook and YouTube. Kirk TV wishing you happy and reflective Easter holidays.
Here on Transforming Families, we offer guidance.
Whatever salary you have, you can still manage a family.
Tackle matters viewed as difficult. You mentioned that if you're not working as a guy, why then are you getting married?
If a man does not have money, then you're not romantic enough to be married.
Hard.
The people born in the 70s and 60s are the ones that have failed the current generation.
And confusing.
We are talking about the Serelak children, the children who have been pampered. They are the ones who are not taking care of their own children when they give birth to them.
Creating stable families for a stable society.
Families are work, but you can work it.
All we want is the best for our families and for our families to be transformed and stable and strong together. Transforming Families, Saturdays at 8 p.m. only on Kirk TV.
So catch Fit to Live every Monday through Friday at 6:30 a.m. and 4:30 p.m. Together, let's have fun, get fit, and stay healthy. My name is Aida Munzati. I'll be your host for this show. Remember, your health always matters.
All right, a very good morning to you. I hope you are doing well. Thank you so much for tuning in to Kirk in the Morning and staying with us until this far. This is Turning on the Web segment with me, Faith Kaulu. Without further ado, dear viewer, let's dive right into it. And today we start with very good news. I mean, social media has been a buzz because of this story, the story of Kenyan gospel artist Evelyn Wanjiru, who gave us the good news together with her husband Agunda Bweni Akweyu that they are expecting their first child. Now, this is such a very good news because for Kenyans who've known, and the couple have been very open with their story, they have been waiting, trusting in God, and praying for 10 years. So, announcing the good news via her social media page, the ecstatic singer began by thanking God for honoring his promise of giving them a child and her husband for his unmatched support. Well, this good news came with a song release on YouTube at Evelyn Wanjiru, and just within 2 days, the song has been able to garner more than 200,000 views. Let's have a snippet of the new song. Well, I'll just read her post on social media while announcing the good news of their, pregnancy. Evelyn Wanjiru says, "Today my heart is full of joy and gratitude as I write this. My eyes are full of tears. I have been waiting for this season for 10 years in my marriage. A blessed womb. God has fulfilled his promise." Definitely there's a verse, she quotes there, 1 Samuel 1:27, which says, "I prayed for this child and the Lord has granted me what I asked of him." She also further goes on to encourage people who are also waiting upon the Lord and trusting for him. Well, let's just have a look on what Kenyans had to say about this good news, because everyone was posting and congratulating them. By the way, from Kirk TV to you, Evelyn Wanjiru and husband, congratulations. We are happy for you too. On Twitter, people say at Nzao_Florence is saying, "Who is dancing with me for at Evelyn Wanjiru's miracle? But God, praise and ending. Congratulations." Indeed, it is a good news to be celebrated about. At Goldmine Show says, "His promises are yes and amen. 10 years of waiting couldn't break this beautiful couple. Congratulations, Evelyn Wanjiru and Agunda Bweni." At the final tweet is Daddy On Music, who says, "Jesus looked at them and said, 'With man this is impossible, but with God all things are possible.'" And he goes there and says Matthew 19:26, and he says, "Imagine waiting for 10 years for a baby." You guys, this is such good news. Congratulations to you, Evelyn Wanjiru and husband, and thank you so much for sharing the good news with us. Well, let's move on to the next story, which of course Kenyans have been talking about, is a fuel crisis in Kenya. Hashtag fuel crisis KE on Twitter. Guys, this fuel crisis has not only affected people with cars, people with matatu, using matatu as well, and has caused traffic on our roads because people have been lining up at different fuel stations and causing traffic on the road. Well, good news is that the Cabinet Secretary of Energy, Monica Juma, said that the fuel crisis will be averted because the government will restore normal supply of petroleum products all over the country within the next 72 hours. This was yesterday, so we are hoping for good things to happen. However, this good news came with not so good news because the Energy and Petroleum Regulatory Authority announced new prices of petroleum products. Of course, an increase was witnessed there. Petroleum products went up by around 9 shillings there. So now a liter in Nairobi will retail at about 144 Kenya shillings. That is of petrol. Diesel will retail at 125 Kenya shillings, and kerosene 113.44 Kenya shillings. People have been talking about this. Of course, fuel prices are expected to go even higher, and even with this 9 shillings added to the price right now, the government says that the subsidy, you remember the government signed subsidy for fuel prices, has been involved thereabouts. That's why it hasn't gone up by about 40 Kenya shillings. So we are grateful. I think we should be grateful. And just let's have a look at what Kenyans had to say on Twitter about fuel shortage KE. At Imwabili says, "Is hashtag fuel shortage KE going to pass, or we embrace it as one of our struggles in Kenya? The process of searching for fuel is draining." Indeed, it is draining for everyone because chaos is what I can say it has caused. At Kolo Teko, it says, "Coming days situation will be more know us, and there's an image there of people queuing at a petrol station. We have become the queuing nation, guys. @_Tyru says, why not remove levies and taxes equivalent to the subsidies on fuel instead of collecting the taxes and losing them? What's the point of collecting money only to return it to the same people you collected it from, if not to enable embezzlement? Educate me. #FuelShortageKE. And guys, thinking about this, I'm like, yes, why don't just remove the taxes and levies instead of telling us you're giving us a subsidy? That's a question we are asking. Maybe the last tweet we are going to look at on #FuelShortageKE is from Kenyan Traffic, who says, so we went through a pandemic, lockdowns, police brutality, COVID billions. Mombasa road users have spent more nights on the road than others. And here we are with #FuelShortageKE and inflation. And they go on to say, I'm tired of the adversities that is facing Kenya. Let's be hopeful, tuendelee kujivunia kuwa wa Kenya, and we hope that something is going to change soon. Here comes the election. This is your opportunity to think wise and be wise on that day. When that day comes, think, elect a leader who will actually solve the problems that we are currently facing. And before we go to what we are going to discuss about next, let's have a look at what one of the witnesses had to say on #FuelShortageKE.
Kabisa. Wacha nikwambie Wakenya tuko sawa. Sisi hapa wote, mimi nimezunguka, unaweka dhao ya kuzunguka ukitafuta mafuta ingine. Yeah, but nipo at least tuko na super expressway inatusaidia. Na ile nini, si BBI tulimwaga pesa. Ndio hii inatusaidia, ndio maana tunazunguka. Na wakati wa kura tutasimama mara mbili asubuhi, na hiyo wakati wa pili tutasimama tufanye hii kitu. Wakenya tumezoea kupiga raini na tunafurahia sana. Ni jambo mzuri, tunashukuru serikali. Sababu sasa tungepiga wapi raini? Tupige raini asubuhi ya mafuta, usioke upige ya maziwa, alafu baadaye nasikia maji pia imeisha. Tumeanza rationing. Sasa sisi tutaangalia wapi? Lakini uzuri tunaona hata tuko na viongozi hapa. Tunafurahia. Mimi nimefurahia. Hii kuzunguka tukitafuta mafuta. Hata unaamuka usiku saa 6 unaacha bibi na watoto unaenda kutafuta mafuta na haupati. So tunataka kushukuru serikali sana. Tumefurahia. Ni jambo mzuri, hata hatupatana hivi kama Wakenya. Wacha niende kasiishia hapa. Unajua naenda napata imeisha.
So what Jugush is saying is that unajaza mafuta thao, because most petrol station walikuwa na kulimit, and then you go, hiyo thao unatumia ukitafuta thao ingine. So the whole day you spend looking for fuel. Guys, but other than the fuel shortage, we thank God, because BBI and Mombasa Expressway has helped us and will continue to help us as Kenya. That aside, guys, hopefully we will hold CS Monica Juma to her words, and hoping that fuel shortage KE will be sorted very soon. Let's look at a story that caused anger and commotion on social media pages. The story of Alvin Linus Chivondo, a 21-year-old Kenyan who was sentenced to 1 year in prison with an option of being released after paying a fine of 100 Kenya shillings. This is for shoplifting. Well, Alvin was caught stealing goods worth 3,165 Kenya shillings from Naiva supermarket, and among the food items he stole were 5 kgs rather of rice, 5 kgs of cooking oil, 2 kgs of sugar, tea leaves, and honey. This is something to which he pleaded guilty when he was in court. There's a video there playing, and you could see him in court. He pleaded guilty to the charges, and he said yes, indeed, he was trying to steal the items because he didn't have money, he couldn't afford them, and his family had slept angry. Now, Kenyans were angered because of the judgment, because this is a guy who had no option. This is a guy who's quote unquote is not well financially, we could say poor, and he just cared about his family and wanted to feed his family. And so Chaos was there on Twitter, and Kenyans did send money to the guy to help in releasing him. But former Nairobi Governor Mike Sonko came through for him and paid the total amount, 100,000 Kenya shillings needed, and he was released from industrial prison on Thursday morning. And good news is Mike Sonko, former governor, took him to the same supermarket, did shopping for him that would last him 1 month, and then gave him a job, you guys. So right now, Alvin Linus Chivondo is hired at the Sonko rescue team. So hopefully he's going to earn a living. He'll be able to feed his family well. And that he'll be able to make a decent living. It is a sad state to see how Kenyans are suffering and to see how far one can go to feed his family. And for me, I'm encouraged that Kenyans did come through for him. Kenyans did want his release, and just to see what former governor did is also very, 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 very nice. So let's just have a look at few of the tweets and what people had to say about his case. And at Moha001_Onyango says, lawyers on my timeline, can the guy who shoplifted food items worth 3,800 carry the items home to his family now that Mike Sonko has cleared his 100k fine, or Naivas will take it back to the shelves? I don't think he needs that, because Sonko clearly has done him a very good amount of shopping. At CBS_KE says, when others are ordering for the release of Alvin Linus Chivondo, who shoplifted foodstuffs from Naivas supermarket because his kids slept hungry for 2 days, Mike Sonko pays the fine of 100,000 Kenya shillings. God bless Mike Sonko. Kusema na kutenda. Indeed, kusema na kutenda. And let's look at Andres_DZ, who says, Sonko took the guy that was arrested for shoplifting to the same supermarket. Alishikwa na akamfanyia shopping. Yani, hiyo Naivas hiyo alimrudisha tu hapo na kusema, get anything you want, I'm going to pay for it. And at Helen Jerike E says, dear at Raila Odinga, what Sonko has done is what we call leadership. Lecturing judiciary was not a solution. You are a billionaire, but you couldn't pay for 100k fine for a hustler. Okay, guys. But I think for me, the good news is that he's been released, he's been given a job, so he's going to earn a living, and he has shopping to at least last him until he stabilizes himself. So that's the good news, and I'm encouraged by that. Well, right, but now we conclude with a very, 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 very sad story. The story of Nigerian artist, gospel artist Osinachi's death. Now, the world is mourning the death of popular Nigerian singer Osinachi Nwachukwu. The first reports after her demise, which was last week on Friday, indicated that she suffered a throat infection, which could probably have been cancer. However, this report was vehemently denied by her family members, who claimed that the artist died from injuries inflicted by the husband, Mr. Peter Nwachukwu. This is a very sad story, because immediately after her demise, of course, several people came out to social media claiming that she was a victim of domestic violence, and probably beatings from her husband led to her demise. Of course, reports from Nigeria indicate that Nigeria police arrested her husband, and investigation is going on. And in case you're wondering who is Osinachi Nwachukwu, guys, she came to the limelight especially after she collaborated with Nigerian artist Prosper Osinachi and released a song known as Ekueme. So let's just have a brief preview of that song.
The cry you will cry when the saints have gone. Cry it now while the saints are still around. The shout you will shout when you heard that the saints have gone. Shout it now while the saints are still around. After rapture, there will be no more mercy. This is the time to ask for God's mercy when the saints are still around. Ekueme, 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 children go to Ekueme.
That is a very, very, very sad story, and for me, I hope that justice shall be served, that investigations shall be thorough, and if indeed she died from injuries inflicted by the husband, that legal action will be taken. And guys on Twitter, of course, were very, very sad of the story, and I'll just sample a few of the tweets on hashtag Osinachi Nwachukwu. At its_AJ says, I will forever have great memories of you, your angelic voice, the worship and ministration helped many come as they are, willing to be vulnerable and broken for Christ. God bless you and give you true rest, daughter of Zion. Indeed, this is a very sad story. At Promise Ikichuku says you are in a better place and shares an image there that says say no to domestic violence. Well, at Nwadike_John says the church has constantly been under attack. People look for every opportunity to attack the church. From testimonies, we can gather that Pastor Eneche was not aware of what happened to Osinachi Nwachukwu, but people are still twisting and turning these issues just to justify. In case you're wondering, Pastor Eneche is the minister who was in charge of the church where Osinachi ministered, and he came forth to say, you know what, we were not aware that Osinachi was a victim of violence because she did not share that with the church. Last on this hashtag Osinachi Nwachukwu, I'll look at Jumis Q, who says the fact that I'm reading this after seeing all the news about Osinachi Nwachukwu murder at the hands of her abusive husband makes me want to scream. The number of tweets saying it was on her to leave when we live in societies that will ostracize her as a divorcee is sad. This story is very sad, guys, and for me, I hope that this will be the last of it, the last of all domestic violence cases. Let's bring an end to this, guys. Very sad indeed. We shall miss you, but we are grateful for the opportunity that she had on earth and her ministration and her music that she left with us that will definitely minister to many generations to come. That is all we had for you guys right here on Trending on the Web segment, 14 minutes past 10 a.m. Thank you so much. Keep it tuned right here because I am just letting Sambu to come in with the guest artist segment. And today we have Treasure MJ on board. Definitely an interview you want to sit and listen to. So thank you so much for tuning into The Trend. My name is Faith Kaulu. Till next time, goodbye. But keep it right here for the guest artist segment.
Jesus, 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 say you when I got not stop it from going, because I'm tired of crying for you to come back. Now I have a truth and I don't need you more. My true friend is Jesus, and Jesus never lies. I'll never and never, never leave Jesus. Jesus, my healer, my leader, my refuge, my lifter. He'll never leave me in danger. He'll always protect me from the evil and my enemies. There's nowhere be without Jesus. Jesus, Jesus, my healer. Always be Jesus forever, forever. I'll be a good friend to Jesus. It is always safe with him around. Always be Jesus forever, forever. I'll be a good friend to Jesus. It is always safe with him around. I'll never and never, never leave Jesus. Jesus, my healer, my leader, my refuge, my lifter. He'll never leave me in danger. He'll always protect me from the evil and my enemies. There's nowhere be without Jesus. Jesus, Jesus, my healer. Jesus, you protect me when I was in danger. You help me when I was sick. Jesus, Jesus, the most high. Jesus, you protect
All right, and welcome back to Kirk in the Morning. And in case you're joining us, remember this is Kirk TV in the Morning, where we take a review of what has been happening all through the week, and then later on we get into our entertainment segment where we have different artists come on board and give us their taste of music. And this morning we have Treasure MJ in studio. Welcome to the studio this morning.
Thank you.
How are you feeling?
I'm good, yeah.
Okay, and that song that just finished playing in a few minutes.
Yeah.
How do you feel about singing along to that song? I saw you smiling and doing all manner of things.
Yeah, I love that song. It's one of my favorite songs, but I can't say that it's my favorite since, like, when I read a song and then I read another one, I always say, oh no, this one's better than the other one. Yeah.
So you write your own songs?
Yeah, I'm a songwriter.
How do you write your songs?
I write them at night, but I guess it's just the Holy Spirit.
The Holy Spirit.
Most of the times, everything I do them at night. If I want to write a song, I write at night. So yeah.
At night is when your vision comes in and you write all your songs.
Yeah.
And how do you feel about the songs you've done so far? Because you've done several, some of them while you are still young and still growing up. How has it been for you, starting from being a small girl and now growing up to being a big girl and still being able to write and sing?
It's really amazing. I can like say, like, it was just like, I feel like it's just been like yesterday that I was, writing songs, going to events. Like, there's this one time I went to like it was, I think, I'm not sure, it was like a big event. It was a huge stadium, and
okay.
I was really excited, and I love how I don't get nervous, but sometimes I like, when I want to say a speech and then I stand there, I'm like, oh my God, what's gonna happen? But I feel like throughout the journey, I'm just happy and I've learned so many things. And on YouTube, I'm a content creator. I just talk about different topics. I'm a motivational speaker. I speak about like how to level up mentally, how to become popular. And I feel like even if I do give you guys the advice, I learned too some of the things. So yeah, I guess I love being a singer. I love being a motivational speaker, because even if motivational speakers give you advice, they also need advice. So don't feel like someone's perfect just because they give advice.
You talked about the two things you've talked about, being a singer and a motivational speaker, and as well I understand you're also in school.
Yeah.
So how do you balance between that? Does your mom beat you sometimes, telling you to stop singing, you need to get in the books?
Okay, no, my mom doesn't beat me. And yeah, I guess like there's this, sometimes when we're in school, there's break time and lunch time, and like sometimes we have like maybe free times, like on Fridays in the evenings we don't have anything to do, and sometimes we go to play in school. So I take that time to maybe write some, scripts, and I also rap, but I cannot say I can rap like right now. And yeah, but I'm a good rapper.
Take time to rap.
I take time to write those things, but then when it comes to just rapping, I can. Yeah.
And being a singer and doing all that, motivating your young ones, the people that are in the same age group, and even older people.
Yeah.
Because I also seen your clips, and I was trying to question myself, how old are you?
Okay, so I feel like people and like the society, sometimes they like look at your age. They don't look like don't look at your abilities. They only look, you're 11-year-old, you're too young to do this and this. But that should not be the thing. What should be the thing is that you're doing this. How many things are you going to do? Do them all, because life is too short to start saying you're too young to do this, because you don't know what tomorrow has. Like, I just think that it's good for the society to start saying you are good enough to do anything, no matter like your age. You might be young, like you're 11, but your brain is 50. So don't look at someone's age, look at their abilities, because your age doesn't define what you can and can't do.
Okay, that is motivating this morning. But I want us to take there's something we did about coming up mentally. I want us to take a glimpse of shortly what you said in that clip, because whoever is watching could be wondering, what are we talking about? So this is what Treasure did some few weeks ago.
Yeah. Hello, this is Itzy Groceries. We're back in another video. Today I'm going to be telling you all how to level up mentally. So without wasting time, let's get to this video. Okay, so number one is avoid negative people and negative things. So negative people are everywhere, and I feel like everybody has their own opinions. So if you don't want to like get into this whole entire thing, if someone tells you like, oh Treasure, you look so bad, and then the person might come and say, oh Treasure, you look so beautiful. So everybody get their own opinions, and if you have a bad opinion about someone, just keep it to yourself and shut it up and do not talk. Cause the little bad things you say to others might hurt them even more. So number two is control your emotions. If you're a person who gets really mad, or if you get really mad, you might talk to someone very badly. So what you do, tell this person, I'm sorry, I can talk to you right now, and go out, come down, breathe in and out, come back, talk to this person, and you will clearly level up mentally. Your mentality will be.
All right, and that is what Treasure you put out some few weeks ago.
Yeah.
Where do you get this motivation from, or rather, how do you figure out things that you're going to tell people? Because listening to that, you're not even targeting your fellow age mates. You're even targeting grown-ups and everybody, because mental health is for everyone. So how do you get your motivation, and how do you decide what you're going to talk about?
I just sit down, think, and it just comes, just like that.
Some of the things people talk about are out of experiences, and owing to the fact that perhaps you've not experienced much of it, but you get to put it out as someone who has experienced it. How is the experience? How do you come up all that way to be able to put something that people can relate with?
So first I look at what's going on, like what's really happening. Like in school, people want to like mostly in like universities, or like when you're in high school, you want to be the top. You want to like be at the top. You want to be famous in school and everything. And so this my first ever video, there's this other one that I did a few weeks ago, how to be popular in university. I'm not even yet in university, but I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna do this. And then I figured out, if you're in university, you want to be popular, right? Especially guys, they want to be at the top and everything. So I just thought, wait, I can give people advice on how to be popular, and it could be easy. So I just thought, let me put it out, how to be popular in university. I did it a few weeks ago, and yeah.
And how was your experience, on the first video that you did? How was the experience for you?
It was shocking. Actually, I was scared. I thought, what do people say? But then I said, whatever they say, I don't care. I just don't. But then I was like, it was my first video of motivational speaking was how to be popular in school. It was like if you're in high school, primary, university, or no, it was how to glow up. Actually, yeah, how to glow up. And I was happy. I was like doing this video, and then I figured out this was just the best I ever did. But then continuing, I feel like my first video I did, the first ever video I did, the one like I'm going to do next, or the one that I'm doing right now, they're better. Like I've improved. I'm seeing that. Like even if like right now I'm targeting everyone. Like not like the first ever video just targeting, you know, if you're in school. But right now I'm targeting everyone, like literally everyone. Like how to level up mentally, it's for everyone, whether you're in high school, primary, finished school, it's just for everyone. Yeah.
And because you target everybody and you try to put out a message to everyone in a more understandable way, even to the adults. So when you're with your fellow age mates and in school, do they look at you as someone who is more mature than them, or how do they see you?
Oh no. I feel like they just see. It's like even if you're in school, you're just a normal kid. But then when I'm now outside school, I'm like, I just do my thing. I'm like, I record videos, but I feel like people don't understand is that celebrities, especially like if you're in primary or high school, they like when you go back to school, it's just school. Like they're just used to you. They even see you like a celebrity or anything. They just see you as a normal kid. Yeah.
And out of all the videos that you've done, even writing music, what is your biggest challenge? At which point did you say, I think I'll stop this, I'm feeling like I'm giving up? What was your biggest challenge all through?
I feel like my biggest challenge has always been, you know, just sitting there recording videos, and then maybe someone comes and then tries, okay, let me think, because this one's really tough.
Okay.
Maybe it was, you know, the time. I feel like, okay.
But sometimes you do something and you feel you've not done it perfectly, so you have to go back again.
Yeah, that has actually been my biggest challenge, but maybe recording videos and then you feel like that's not the best, or someone comes and say, yours is not the best, no, that's not good. So I feel like when someone tells me that's not good, I'm like, what have you done? So my biggest challenge actually is going and sitting, trying to record that thing, and then you're like, no, this is not it, and then going back again. So maybe failing and doing it back again and then failing, that is my biggest problem. I feel like if I fail something, I always feel like that is not good. I repeat it back again. Because I always believe when you believe, you'll achieve.
Okay, when you believe, you achieve.
Yeah.
And talking about you being a motivational speaker, I would say for everyone, because you're not speaking for the young people.
Yeah.
You've also been able to do songs. So between the motivational bit and the musical part of you, which one came first?
Singing.
And how did you discover that you could sing?
I discovered
because not everyone can actually sing.
Okay. So I discovered I can sing when I was 7, but writing songs, my whole life I've always like when I was 3, I used to write songs and sing them. Like I used to sit down and then I would start singing a song, but my mom thought, oh, those are just Sunday school songs and everything. But those were my own songs, so I feel like I should tell my mom something. Those songs I wrote before, you need to tell me what I used to say, because, you know, now I've lost to those songs. And the first one was writing songs, but then singing when I was 7, I just sat down and I started singing a song. It was just a normal day. It was in the evening. I think it was 7 p.m. I think, I'm not sure. And so I sat down and then I started singing, and then I was like, oh, you write a song. And then the next day, I didn't even know we were already recording my song. And recording it, my God, was trouble.
I was actually to ask you that. How was your first recording?
Oh,
Because
wow.
I believe you also recorded it while you were still young.
Yeah, it was tough, and at that time I was talkative. Let me tell you, I couldn't like stand like right here. If maybe we were shooting this interview, I'd be like, oh, I was already going everywhere the whole entire place because I was a talkative kid. Like I could not keep quiet. So the producer, oh my God, big shout out to him because he really tried a lot. I was in the keyboard, and then he was trying to tell me, Jojo, go to the microphone, start recording, and then like make the beats, and then oh my God, it was a tough.
But eventually you got to learn everything how it goes.
Yeah.
So right now, what would you say is your strength? You know, when it comes to doing what you love.
My strength, just helping people. That's my strength, and then trying to my strength is the fact that the Holy Spirit is with me. And my strength is also seeing people the way they're telling me, oh, that's good. And I just love being when someone comes and compliments me. I'm like, yeah, I'm just so happy. Like when you guys were telling, when like the TV host was like saying, next is Shaja MJ, you should have seen my smile. I was like, yay, that's me. I was so excited.
Okay, yeah. And people are asking, you know, they're complimenting you as well and saying that you have good grammar and all that.
Yeah.
They're asking, do you know Swahili?
I know Swahili. Like I'm good at that. But let me tell you, when it comes to like class Kiswahili, I'm not that good, but I can say I'm good, and I do speak Kiswahili. I do.
You do speak fluently?
Yeah, I can. Yeah, because I've lived in Kenya. I've never gone to like abroad. Yeah, my whole life I've just lived in Kenya. So of course, whoever lives in Kenya, and I was born in Kenya, so of course I know Kiswahili. Yeah.
Okay, that is. I think everyone knows.
Yeah, but on TV, I think I can't. Just on TV, I can't. But then when you find me outside, I'll speak to you in Kiswahili. But here on TV, I don't think.
If I ask you a question in Swahili.
Okay, I can, but I'll answer it in English. Yeah, I think most of the times on TV, I think it's just the Holy Spirit speaking, because sometimes when you go outside and you ask me like that question, what did I answer? And I'm like, I can't really remember. I'm not sure because it's just the Holy Spirit.
And because we're also coming into the conclusion of the show, I will also ask, and I will ask my last question in Swahili. Unataka kuambia watoto wenzako aje? What is your camera?
Okay, I want to tell you guys.
And you target all of them, those that know English and those that don't know English.
Okay, so here's the thing. If you are, if you believe, you will achieve, because there was this time in 2020, I want to say this, I would tell everybody, even if I'm outside, I would tell everyone, excuse me, tomorrow I'm going to America and I'm going to go. And so I used to say that every time. I'm going to say, I'm going to America, I'm going to America. And after that, 2021 passed, I didn't go to America. 2022, now in 2021 December, the way I used to do my motivational speaking, there's this guy. My mom is a caretaker, we believe, so the friend, it's not our landlord, lives in UK and came and told us, I've seen how she sings, and I feel like in university or in high school, she should go to UK and study there for full scholarship. So I'm ready. So when I finish high school, I'm gonna go to study the UK. So just believe in yourself, because it doesn't matter where you're back. It doesn't matter where you live. It doesn't matter how much money you have. What matters is that when you just believe in yourself. Because people always say, I'm so poor, how will I ever be rich? Never say that. Just be like, I'm going to be rich one day. It doesn't matter if it's tomorrow, I'm going to be rich. Believe in yourself, because don't look at how much money you have. Don't look at how much your clothes cost, because everybody believes that, how much I earn will depend on how I will live. No, it's how much you believe in yourself. Just believe. Keep on believing, because when you believe, you'll achieve.
And then on the last parting shot, I believe also your parents have been supportive in what you do and trying to push you to the limit. And for any parent who's watching you as a child of parents and having supportive parents, what do you tell parents that have children that have the same ambition as yours?
I like to tell them, support your kid. Just support your kid, because don't say I'll support you when you're 20 when you start earning money. Don't say that, because you don't know if your child will really reach 20 years. You don't know. You don't know if when he or she reaches 20, you'll be there to support him or her. So start now. If you see your child as a singer or as an actress or do this and this, go on, support her. Start recording his or her video and post it on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and that they'll eventually grow, because, like I said, believe you'll achieve. That's the thing.
Okay. And as you also part shot, your social medias, you manage your social medias yourself?
Yeah.
So where can people find you on every platform?
So you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and on YouTube as Treasure MJ, Treasure TREASURE, Treasure for gold, yeah, and MJ, and on TikTok at Treasure MJ11, yeah.
And because we are done now, we are done with the interview, but we're not going to finish it before you say something to people in Swahili, because I know they have been asking me to tell you to tell them something in Swahili. Entirely, you haven't spoken Swahili at any point. So, is there anything you tell them on that camera in Swahili as you finish?
In Swahili. So,
maybe they take care of themselves, or your parting short thing.
A shout out, because I'm going to be killed if I don't say this shout out. Big shout out to my brother Jabali Atha. I know he's watching. Big shout out to him, and follow him on TikTok. He's a TikTok boy. His name is Jabali. You know, Jabali. And to my friends, family, and everybody. Nawapenda sana, so yeah.
Nawapenda sana is the Swahili word you use there.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, we are done. We're gonna do your new song.
Okay.
So what is about the new song? What is it all about?
It's about a friend that you have. It's about a friend who comes and then says, I don't want to be your friend anymore, and then comes back and says, you want to be your friend. And so the next time she comes in and she says she wants to be a friend, you're like, I'm sorry, I have Jesus. Jesus is my savior, and I don't want you anymore, because I have a true friend, and my true friend is Jesus. And Jesus will always support you. Jesus will never leave you, because he's the one, yeah.
Okay, and that is why we're gonna be doing that song. That is the song you're finishing up with. So you perform for your fans and the people watching you.
Yeah.
But for me, it's a wrap here on Kirk TV in the morning. My name is Chris Sambu. See you next week on Friday. But before we sign out with Treasure MJ with a new song, Jesus. This is it.
Jesus, you when I cannot stop you from going, because I'm tired of crying for you to come back. Now I have a true friend, I don't need you more. My true friend is Jesus, and Jesus never lies.